Changemakers, and welcome to The Core, sponsored by Red Apple EdCo. This is your Everything Education podcast. We talk about current events, books to read. We interview education leaders, hear their stories, learn from their biggest lessons, and they share what they wish you knew about what it means to be in education today. I'm your host, Dr. Kia Turner. Buckle up for small seeds of inspiration that can lead to big changes in your classroom practice. Let's take a bite out of today's guest. Hey, everybody. It is Dr. Kia here. Look at me working on my camera angles. Hello. Still at EdCampSTL, and I had to sit down with Nick Cusumano.
Very good.
Y'all know I want to say it the right way. And he was leading a session about like video and Google tools. And I knew I had to talk to him. Turns out you are doing kind of like a district level tech support teacher training thing. Tell us what you got going on.
So this is my 23rd year in teaching.
Veteran. Look at that. Aren't they always
21
veterans?
of those were theater and film teacher. And then 2 years ago, I became Director of Instructional Technology, and I like to say I help our teachers use the technology we have. So my job is to help teachers help our students use technology to teach their content areas.
Okay, you guys know I use the free Screencastify Lite free teacher tools. I'm always telling you this. And so we will get to know Nick in 10 minutes, and then I'll give you some information at the end. If you want to follow him, of course you do, on Twitter or reach out to him. You know I'll have a bio coming for you. So let's get started. First, why do you teach? And really in your instance, what I mean is, what led you to transition from working as a film teacher, right, into this kind of tech-heavy Google stuff? One would think they're completely opposite ends of the instructional spectrum.
To me, they're not. The collaboration part as part of theater teacher is we got to work together, and that totally works well with the Google part, and creativity and all of that type kind of ties in together. So I finished my master's in 2007 and needed to get more grad hours. And I started taking courses and found, there's this thing called Google, and had this Google Docs, and started getting it. I was like, I kind of understand this because my brain already worked that way. And then 7 years ago, which I can't believe, I did my first EdCamp. So this was my kind of first time I presented outside my district.
Today?
Yeah, just about 7 years ago. So
I should have periscoped it for you guys. Sorry.
It was definitely one of the things that totally changed my career path. I had done some within my district, but outside my district was here. Did my first tweet at EdCampSTL many moons ago. Now I'm close to 3,000 followers. And didn't know really what Twitter was.
Where can we follow you? Tell us your Twitter name.
It's Mr. Nick Cusumano, Cusumano.
Get with it and follow this man. You need to know what he's got going on. You got to know. Can you tell us, what is it that sort of sparked your interest? Like, I know you said you needed extra grad hours, right? But then thinking about what made you continue to pursue technology instruction to the point to where you went to EdCamp, you started tweeting,
I was already kind of techie.
Okay.
And I just kind of...
Now we get to the truth.
I had my Texas 99 way back when with the tape recorder, all that, Commodore 64, way back, old school, 5.5 floppy disks, all that type of stuff. And I always had used it. My student teaching, I drug my computer and the phone line and the dial-up, and we waited 10 minutes for a map.
What he's telling you is that he has been in the game for a minute. Is that what you were telling us?
Yeah, I've been in the game for a while.
He's telling us. It's not his first
rodeo.
So
the Google bug got me going, and all of a sudden realized that the world of education had changed under my feet. And I was like, oh my God, well, if it's changed on my feet and I'm going, what's going on? There's people that probably don't even know what's coming their way. And so I feel it's a passion of mine to help teachers with that transition, because there's teachers like me.
You're gonna be a 2-part interview. Keep going.
20 years. I've met some over this past week going to schools, and they are scared half to death because we're going more Google 1-to-1 in our district, and they are scared half to death. And I've been in the world 10 years, and I got to help them through that process.
I love the empathy that you're exhibiting. It's unexpected. I hear you saying that not only do you love it, but once you realize that technology and the role it played in education changed, you thought, well, wow, not only am I going to empower myself, I'm going to go out and I'm going to help other teachers who may be in the exact same predicament, right?
Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay. That brings me to number 2. And y'all know we had 5 minutes already, so I'm going to have a part 2, okay? Like FYI. So what's one thing you are doing in your practice right now that excites you? What's something you're seeing happening in education and you're just like, bring it on?
My big passion right now is the 4 C's, and I'm kind of adding in the big E because that ties into my area, which is empathy.
Ooh, tell us more.
Because, okay, 4 C's, you have creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking.
Where'd you get those?
That's 21st century learning skills that been out for, 10 years or so that I found during one of my grad classes.
Okay.
But, theater's been doing that since the 5th century BC. So nothing new, or not new, but
it's not no surprise to me what he's saying.
But I think as much as we love these devices we have here, and I feel weird when I don't have mine with me, is we got to help our students put themselves in each other's shoes, because so much with our media, it's too one-sided, and I've got kids and adults to understand, to put themselves in each other's shoes.
Okay. How do you do that? Tell us sort of just one thing you do to build that empathetic practice outlook into your work.
So working with teachers is putting themselves in the student situation. And with this process, when they're in a PD or a training, they're in that student's shoes is one, seeing kind of where they're at, getting a sense of that, letting them know that, it's weird and uncomfortable, letting them know for their students that it's weird and uncomfortable for them too, and just to accept that and kind of move on from it, or just acknowledge it and use it and kind of go with it. And just to also find those experiences, create those experiences. And if you can do some role playing in your classroom, or just writing from either a character's point of view. If you're dealing with literature, that's a great place to start. Or, you're dealing with, how do we solve this problem? Well, if we're in this particular place, how does this person deal with it? You have these set of circumstances. What do we do next? And how do we do that together?
That doesn't sound very tech support teacher training like. What made you add that E on to the 4 C's? Is that a personal thing, or is that sort of a district push for the district you're in?
That's the theater teacher in me.
That's okay.
But I think it's something that we need in this world. And I think every time watching the news, you just get into that. And I think if we just walk a mile in another person's shoes, and that's what you have to be when you're an actor. You have to put yourself in someone else's shoes. And it gets you to think from a different perspective.
Yeah. Okay, number 3. What is one resource you think every educator should know about? In 90 seconds, then we're going to start video 2. So in 90 seconds, one resource, one thing, and you can follow up if you need to when we start again.
So the fun one I've had just with today is the Explore feature in Google Slides, because it makes you look like you have good design, and you don't have to. So I'm all about the shortcut is, you put your title and the picture in there.
Yeah.
And then you click Explore, and it says, here's this option, that option on the right-hand side.
I love that.
And it makes it look like you have a great eye. And maybe you do, maybe you don't, but no one knows because you used Google to help you get it there.
This is why you are a Google innovator, and we'll find out more about that in part 2. Nick is my first 2-parter, but you understand why, right? Like, he has so many things that we need to all hear that I'm going to come back to you with a part 2. See you in a second. That's all we have for today. Thank you for listening to The Core. Wherever you are listening to us, be sure to like our show, subscribe, and share the episode that's meant the most to you. We appreciate every single one of our subscribers, as do our sponsors. We look forward to seeing you next week. You can also check us out on YouTube at Red Apple EdCo. If you'd like to see more video of these conversations, we have them posted there.